only got about a handful of questions. But when I ask the question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the questions of you guys, but then I'm going to ask either Kent, Sarah, Manny, or Mike to pick somebody to answer the question.
Oh, so scenario going.
I like this.
I'm not scared to do it.
If you're not making eye contact with us, we're picking you. Just letting you know, because some people go like, "Oh God, don't pick me." Right? Look at Joe in the back.
So one thing before I get started, did you go over the time clock policy?
Billy.
Yeah, Billy did that, and then you have a handout now of what the app looks like, and everything will be in the system, I promise, by Tuesday, if not Monday.
Because this time clock thing is a pain in the rear, and it's really up to the site directors to make sure that the people are clocking. Lead by example.
It's pretty easy, guys. For example, if you walk in, guys, and you're trying to clock in either on the site phone or on the iPad, and it's not easily accessible for you, let us know. Say, for example, by the time you get there, stuff locked away, you don't have to keep that cabin, for example, or that door is locked, let us know, and that makes it more that easier for you.
Okay, thanks. And then in that, you guys emphasize that, what was it? It wasn't overtime. It's when people work over 3 hours. They
The C-shift, P-shift.
You went through all of that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So let me get to my questions.
Okay.
My first question, nobody blurted out, but my first question is, how is TPT different from any other after-school program?
You want a returning staff person or a new person?
I don't care, but I want you to pick the person that can answer that question.
Me. Okay, Joseph. How are we different than anybody else? Why would people want to come to our program than any other program?
You want my answer or what I learned?
I want your answer.
Oh, because well, my answer is simply because our culture is not like any other culture out there or after school program. Specifically at my site, we actually care for our students, and we try to do the best possible thing we can for them in any way, in any aspect that we can, without crossing any boundaries. So
Kind of like the primetime way.
yeah,
And tell me about that.
I can't tell.
Okay. That's what I want to know.
I think that's a great answer.
That's a great answer.
And I got a slightly different answer, so thank you, Joe. My answer to that question is, the difference is you. It's you. Right? So there it is. That's what separates us from all the other programs. Second question. How do we get more, and we've talked about it, how do we get more kids to join our program? Specifically, what I wrote is, how do we market and advertise to get more kids to join our program? So I'm less interested in programming and more interested in how do we let the entire school population know about Team Primetime? So Manny, can you pick somebody?
You know, this one I don't make everybody answer this. There's so many different ways you can advertise.
Yes, there are.
So there's so many ways. So you start from this side all the way down. So more you can start off.
Clearly communicating your vision and having a plan and executing that.
Okay.
So yeah, like social media, communicating through social media.
Social media too, okay.
You like that?
Let's think. Yeah, to me, just through all aspects that you can. Of course, you could advertise through sports. You can use. We had a lot of cool teachers that weren't necessarily with Primetime, but had students that she knew would do it, and she made like posters, school involvement, something that we like. But just really getting the word out through different. There's so many different ways we could. We have sports. We provide more academic help. We provide programs. Just any way you could, because everyone's different. There's not going to be just one niche for someone. It's going to click in and hit home in different ways for different people.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Great answers. Shantasia, I'm just noticing your shoes. Those are some shoes.
Nice, I like them too. I know. Wait, you just noticed them now? I noticed them when you walked in. They were good. I like them. Come on, G right?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your hands.
Yeah.
You got anything to add?
Go ahead.
Also, just practically PA announcements. I know our PE person came to us yesterday and was saying, come around the classrooms. If you guys have time during the school day, and just say, hey, we're Team Primetime. This is what we do. And engaging with the kids, like one-on-one, maybe every day, trying to meet a new kid and tell them, hey, bring your friends, so that they feel like it's an obligation.
Right.
And, it's people that they want to be there.
Okay, so with PA, every morning is one of my things. Every morning they do announcements at every school for homeroom, and what you need to do is have a script of Team Prime Time is doing this today and that today and that today, and the kids going, whoa, they're doing DJing, they're doing this. Well, that's cool. That's how we got a lot of kids, and that's what doesn't happen at every school. So it should happen to get your attendance, because it should be every other morning, every morning for the first part. Here's what we're doing, and they should have a schedule. Here's what we're doing today at prime time, and that has to happen if you want to get kids. And it's got to be cool stuff. It can't be just like we're knitting today. It's got to be something.
Knitting's cool.
Knitting's cool, man.
Oh my god.
Come on. Incident note.
I see my knitting people, Joe. I got you. My bad. So that was a bad example. So we're doing underwater basket weaving. Is that better? Underwater basket weaving? Bungee jumping with no cords? I don't know. I mean.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I did.
Like
Wow.
we said, PA announcements, but I think the most effective way to market this is you personally go into each homeroom of these kids. You advertise the product, you advertise our camp, and then, like Kent was saying, they have the morning announcements starting maybe in the second week. All right, now you start listing off the events that we do. So you go into the homeroom the first week, the kids are excited about it, and then the second week they're hearing about the activities. That naturally is just going to make you want to go to that program or whatever, just because Jeremy came into my homeroom last week and he showed us what this program's all about. Oh, now I hear the activities that they're doing. I want to be a part of that. I want to do this, and that's how I got reeled into the after school programs I was part of. It was this is what we do. Here's an entity of who's in the program, and then this is the morning announcements. That's what we did at our school, and I was like, yeah, I want to go play flag football after school Wednesdays and Fridays from 3 to 5:30 every day. So.
Okay, Joseph is dying behind you. He's got something.
Yeah, I do. This generation is such into social media. I feel like maybe if we can pick responsible kids to advertise the program themselves on social media and post it on our accounts for prime time. So then that way, if they want to follow prime time, they can see hey, this is what we did in art, and they see their best friend on social media, they might want to like it, and then they can share it and then send it all over their page, and then that, because they're already on their phones, that's something that we can't really take away from them, but we can also use that to our advantage to bring more kids into the program. So.
And one of my other things on here was texting all the parents about in the school. If you get in with the principal and they're allowed, some might not allow you to do that, but emails, pretty much absolutely. But texting is where these parents are going to look at more than emails, believe it or not, as we all do. So I think if we can get into that texting mode where here's what we're doing at prime time this week, and I don't want to overwhelm any parent with a text every day. You just can't do that. But at least once every couple weeks, that would be a great idea. Whether the principals accept it or not, that's another whole issue. But texting, emailing, anybody else? I think.
Oh, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think maybe once a week texting the parents would be great. Just because it gives them, it allows them to be aware of what the plan, what's going to be going on that week, and they can refer back to that text message. Some parents don't. They even just leave it, read, and they can just revise that back whenever they need to. And I feel that that's going to really help them, just so that they can always look back at that.
Absolutely, it's great.
Well, for the site directors, I can get copies or get access to your applications as soon as you're done with them, then I can create or update the database so that we can reach out to those people with a modicum of effort.
Yep. Steve's been trying to talk. Go ahead.
No, I mean, just piggybacking off everyone, but I think like the biggest thing is probably going to be word of mouth. Like the kids have to talk about it themselves.
Yep.
You know, it's one thing to come out and play basketball or to play football, but if they're learning something new that you know that they can go back home and show off for their friends, it's like, yeah, I'm doing this at this camp. Like that, it's going to build interest on its own. And if they're having fun, if they're constantly in the back of their mind, can't wait to get out of school to do their homework to get right back to the last program they did. I think that's always going to be like the best way because kids love to talk about things they enjoy.
That's how I got involved in this
Yep.
program.
Yep.
I think that goes back to starting the program. Kids are joining the program. They feel welcoming. They feel like you're approachable. They didn't talk about the program after school, during school, and then at home. And that's how they bring their friends along. And then if you're doing that, then you're retaining the kids. Guess what? One, you got them inside the program for a day, 2 days, now a week, now a month. Now a year later, now they're bringing their brothers and sisters. We are winning when we start doing that. So that's perfect advertising right there. Then.
And if you got kids spinning when they go home,
Tell it.
They might know
There you go.
Parents might check them out.
all
That
right.
was good, guys.
Next question. This one's for you, Sarah, to pick somebody. Who do we need to communicate with? Who does Team Primetime, who does our staff need to communicate with?
I don't know. What do you mean?
You gotta pick somebody.
I know, but I don't
Oh.
understand the question.
Okay, so.
Like a staff
you can pick
person who they talk to?
A staff person or a site director. Who do they need to communicate with?
I'll go with
Anything. It could be anything.
Terrence.
For me, I believe we need to communicate with our students who are in the program, but we also need to communicate with their parents. We should be communicating with the staff and administration of the school, and also if I'm the director, but also with the upper management and those who are the upper management for YS as well. So then everybody kind of, we're all on the same page. We're all trying to have the same vision and move in the same direction.
Good answer.
Thank you, Terrence. Do I get a point for
Your
that?
peers. So you want to be talking to Shantasia, and site directors should be talking to each other.
I think even further with the community.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to communicate to the people that are not in the program. Here's what Team Prime is doing, so it reaches out there.
Excellent.
That's something I was gonna add or ask. If there was a way, how like at camp, at the end of the day, we had set up the TVs with pictures of the day, showing the parents as they come in what we did that day. I don't know if there's a way to do that for the after school program where we set that up and, parents, whether they're in the program or not in the program, then they kind of get a glimpse into what we're doing, what's going on, so then, we want to reach the community, but we want to make it a family atmosphere. We want it, as much as possible to, we can't do certain things, but we want to, draw them closer into us and let them know this is who we are and, this is what we're about. So if that's possible, I know you.
It is, I think, but in camp it was because the kids switch every week, and here they're the same kids every week, so we could do it like once every 2 weeks or once a month. And here's what we did this month, and have a whole video on try. Yeah, absolutely, it's a great idea because we do it at camp. But yeah, that'd be cool.
Next question. What do you do when a parent is consistently late picking up their kid?
Good question.
Mike?
Speak to the parent, let them know our guidelines, our rules of what to, picking them up and stuff.
So the young adult does have a document for the unattended child / late child. So basically, let's say they put Mike Landers that he was late today, right? So put the date and the time they were picked up. So that's the first warning. So then he's late. This is slight little calling, put the date and time again. I think by the third time they're able to get suspended from the program, depending on the situation.
I heard they kind of changed that in risk management. Like, if you make contact with the parent, let's say like if they're supposed to get picked up by 6 o'clock, but you made contact with the parent at like 5:55 or something like that, now they have to stay until the parent comes. And then if it goes to like 7 o'clock or something, then you just follow the old procedure, which is like calling like.
It's still the same thing. You still have to stay with the student no matter what.
But by 7, it's
yeah. So,
police.
so basically, the rule was that, for example, if Mike is late, he picked up, you know, the girls pick him up. He goes, you know what, I'm late. I contact with his brother. He goes by 7:30. I have to wait with them. But if I'm calling, say Mike's brothers, mom, aunt, everybody knows picking him up.
Yeah.
That's when the police comes in at 7 o'clock.
Unattended child.
That's when it comes in at child because he can't reach nobody, so the phone number's not working, or they're not picking up. That's when the police gets involved. But other than that, if you make contact with a parent, show up at 8 o'clock, you're there until 8 o'clock. 2
And
staff.
how many
by the
have
way.
to stay? Yeah,
2. Preferably if possible, male, female. Say for example, you have another job or you have a test, call the office, say, you know what, Billy, I gotta leave at 7, and you're at 8 o'clock, I'll come back to it.
Okay. Great, everybody got that one? You guys, I guess we said that site directors are getting credit cards.
They are. I mean, the
Okay.
fee-for-service have them already,
Right.
and
So,
they should be getting theirs.
so this is more a hypothetical
Okay.
question.
Vegas?
What's gonna happen if the credit cards are abused?
What was that?
You get fired
What's
and
gonna
sued.
happen if what?
Credit cards are abused.
You get fired and sued. No.
Okay, let's hear from people that have not answered before. You want to pick somebody now?
No, I want you to.
Okay, I'll pick somebody. LB.
Yeah, I just feel like it's not a good topic, Peter. I mean, yeah, because you have to document everything that you pay for, keep your receipts for everything like they mentioned earlier. But yeah, I just feel like it's not, especially now that everyone doesn't have a site card, like if site directors get a card and we abuse it, then I just feel like that.
Well, here's the plus side is they have a limit. So there is a limit on their credit card, and the limit is their budget for the month. So but abusing what Dave's talking about is you're buying chicken, you're buying stuff for your house, and that's the problem we're having is that if that arises, that's what you're talking about, right?
It is.
Not about the amount of money. It's about they have a budget. They have a budget, but they have to buy what's.
So let's say like let's say I'm doing basketball, right?
Right.
Hypothetically, I'm gonna buy all these kids brand new basketball shoes, $120 a pair. That's abusing the card, right?
Right. It's you have to make sure as a site
Buying
director.
yourself a new pair of shoes would be abused.
No, not myself, the kids. Like if I'm buying basketball shoes.
But if a site director doesn't know, I mean, it's all for the site. Whatever you buy is for the site, for the kids, for something. That's it. And if it's not, and the receipts show something else, then we'll figure it out.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
But
They're not going to Vegas and spending tons of money because
Alright.
they can't.
They're not going to Sapphire.
Right.
buying up a credit card.
We gotta get a different keys.
Whatever.
But the short answer is you'll just be fired.
Go to Bungalow
Yeah,
Medias.
exactly. You use the credit card, you're gonna get fired and sued. You don't want to get sued by Peter. Isn't that right,
So
Peter?
It's
that
also
is,
pretty embarrassing
having
for
been
police
through
to
this
do that.
before, I actually chaired this organization when it happened last, so that's why I wanted to ask
Oh,
the
no,
question.
of course.
So I can tell you what's gonna happen. Step 1 is you lose the credit card.
Fair enough.
Step number 2 is everybody loses the credit card.
Right.
And step number 3 is you get prosecuted.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't mess it up for me, guys.
It's for everybody. That's what I wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
And you know what it is?
It's gonna be a problem for everybody.
You know what it is though?
It's
It just, you know what your kids need, and sometimes, for example, if I need glue, hey man, you got glue, I'll get it for Mike. But sometimes they might not have it or they need it for something. That's when you go get it, guys. It's all for the kids, and there's some stuff that if you know that hey, there's a question mark, you need it. Hey, babe, can I get this for the kids, or why do you need it? If you're okay, then you go get it. But if it's like a little question mark or gray area, don't purchase nothing and go get to the top.
No, or just ask, like, is it okay if I buy this?
That works.
No. Don't do
Really not be
it.
an issue for training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then for everybody in the room, when you're late or absent, what do you do?
Your site director?
No, what do you mean? If you're communicate it. If you think you're gonna be running late, communicate it. Talk to your site director. Let them know.
Who's your first call?
Site director.
The office, to the office, and then the site director to let them know what's going on and when you're gonna be there. And
Both
if they
need to know. Billy needs to know, or the office needs to
Yeah.
know, and the site director for
Why the
sure
office
needs to know.
first?
Because we might have to have.
I don't
someone-
really care.
Okay, fair.
We might, yeah.
But why the office? Because we immediately put things into place to say who else is on the grid that we
Got
need
you,
to
makes sense.
feed in there.
Because sometimes I would go fill in until the person was late out of school. So you
Got
always
it.
gotta have someone there.
Like, yo, I'm gonna be late an hour. You go film.
Yeah, we gotta make sure all the numbers are
Also,
right.
the biggest thing with that I ran into last year was like, my school gets out at 2:45, and at 2:46, like, I'm running late. I'll be there in about an hour or so. Well, that means you were late an hour ago, which means that would have been a good time to contact me, because if you're calling me 2 minutes after the bell ring and you're not gonna be there for another hour, that means you're way, way behind. So
Yeah.
as soon as you know, just let someone know, and it works out much better than trying to sneak in.
We'll work with you, but boy, oh boy, we get too many. We get too many last minutes, and we're going to be a lot less tolerant
It affects
of that.
It's a problem. It helps
It's a
everybody.
huge problem.
So if I know I'm be late, it might be late. So then if he knows, for example, LB comes in at 2:30, you know, LB come in at 2 because someone's gonna be late. I haven't set up cool you straight.
Okay. Last question. Well, it's a multi-part question. So, you find out that a kid in your program has had a bottle of booze with him. What do you do? Joe?
First, I would confiscate it off top, and then I would take the child like to our office, obviously with the doors open. Definitely inform the site director, the actual school principal, and all that, and try to, instead of get the kid in trouble, like try to figure out what's going on with that child to see why they thought that it was okay to do that.
Okay. Incident report?
Oh, for
Off
sure.
top.
You should.
For sure.
Incidents like that, I say for example, it's not a rumor, you actually find out he has a bottle and it's in it. You want to make sure you call, let's say, obviously our office, the Beyond the Bell office, another TPS, let the administrator know, maybe might need security there, you never know, or might need school police, you might never know. But the more, you probably make phone calls, but you know what, there's no need for us to call. You don't gotta call us quick. But say if you're not making phone calls and should have been made, then that's when we get in trouble. You want to document every single thing. And then if Mike Lander sees something, make sure he writes an incident report if possible.
Okay. Yep.
When would you call the police again?
Say for example, say if you have the kid, right? And he knew he had a bottle, but maybe he got it from an adult, then that might be like police matter, not our matters. But obviously if you communicate your TPS, the office, obviously they're more aware of legal stuff and consequences, then maybe for, you gotta call up the school police or this, and that's what you'll call.
Would this be for every other?
No, just also that bringing alcohol to school, and if the kid's under the influence of that,
Like
then
they have
that's-
other drugs?
yeah, you never know. Yeah, and then obviously we can't search the kids, so you must call school police.
I would also check to see that that kid is signed in for the day too.
Well, he better be signed in if he's in the program.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, different kind of problem if they're either not signed in or not in our program.
Or if they're our kid or not as well too, or
Yeah. So I brought this up because it happened last year. I'm looking at you because it happened at your school. But it did happen last year, and these situations are really difficult. In one case, it was pretty cut and dry that the kids were drinking from a bottle and had a bottle. That's a scenario. In another scenario, the kid immediately said, "I just found this bottle over there, it's not mine," kind of deal. Okay, so
then when stuff like that happens, make sure when you're discussing that, make sure there's no kids around. Everybody's playing kickball outside, whatever. Just make sure it's in the room or the opposite. Like that, the less stuff other kids know, the better.
I told you it was a multi-part question, and so these ones are all difficult, but I think they're kind of the same answer. But I'm going to throw it out for those that are more experienced. What do you do when you find out that a kid has a knife? What do you do when you find out that your kids, or you suspect that your kids in your program might have been having sex?
I could actually talk about the knife. That incident happened 4 years ago. Student had a knife. It wasn't too big, but it was a big knife. Kids having oral sex the second day before school let out last year. I've been encountered that. Those kids didn't culminate it. One's a gangbanger, one's sad to say, but I don't know. But the knife one is very tricky. It all depends. If it's true that he has a knife, is it outside, inside? Is he in the room? Or is he just playing basketball? Does he have it in his backpack, in his pocket? You may never know. Honestly, say the kid has it for a reason. You know, to show his friends, or he might need it for protection. Who knows? You know, maybe the kid got mad because I was bullying and he wants to come and just poke me. So we want to approach the kid, you have to be careful. If you know he has it, I'll just call the authorities. I'll just call the office, let the principal know, because they probably are trained better equipped than you are. And if he brings it out, he might try to poke you, poke someone nearby. So they're a little tricky. And if you see some of these kids are doing intercourt or inappropriate stuff, administrator, call the office, DCFS, because you never know, and they'll guide you through the process.
With that kind of stuff, the more people you let know, the better, because if you were the one to find out or know what happened, it's always going to come back onto you.
Well, and I caution, I know what you mean by that, but I caution you with that one because, in particular, unfortunately, the site director that found the booze decided to tell everybody.
What?
And that was not smart. I mean, literally tell everybody.
No, I mean, when we tell him, he's like, my name is like the office.
I know what he meant, that's
But
what
not like, you don't go tell the other stuff right there and then, because then if you tell stuff right there and then, kids might hear, then word spreads out, man.
Okay.
And then, isn't it true if like a kid does have a weapon and you do find out about it, you're supposed to call the police very discreetly?
Yeah, I'll do as possible, because you don't know if the kid's irate or upset.
That's what I mean, like,
he
they
might be
find
like,
out.
oh, they got me, I might just do it now.
I would, as soon as you mention police, that would be the one situation where I'd be inclined to call them pretty quickly,
Yes.
pretty discreetly.
Also, if you do happen to call the police or paramedics for whatever reason, it's definitely something you want to let your director know, because the last thing we want to see is police cars flying onto the campus and we're like as we're doing an art project or
I know
something.
that, but sometimes you may never know once you get to the campus, no sirens.
Sirens, turn off the sirens. That's for an accident too. You always tell them turn off the sirens before you get there, because then the kids are automatically freaked out, and then people that have the weapons are going to get rid of them. So just turn off your sirens. We had a 911 incident. I just called 911 yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know.
Really?
I didn't hear anything.
At camp. So, and I told them when I called 911, I said, please turn off your sirens before they get there, and they did, and it was great because that way it doesn't alert everybody.
I'm glad that you got here because that was my next question. So in order, I asked the questions, what happens if you find a kid has a bottle of booze?
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, what happens if you find out that the kid has a knife or that kids are having sex?
Right.
Program. So that's what we were talking about. You had an incident where a staff person got injured.
Right.
So I'd ask, that was my question. What do you do? What are the steps you go through when somebody gets injured? Yep.
One of the big things, there was a seizure in the gym.
We had that too.
And all of the kids want to surround.
Yep.
And everyone wants to. So I think a big thing is like crowd control, is like
Yep.
getting people away from the situation.
Yep.
The first thing we did at Crossroads, it happened. It was Jordan, our director, and when I saw all the Crossroads, all the lifeguards came over, and I said, "Can you guys all just please leave?" And Jordan, the first thing he said to me today was, "Thank you for getting them away." I felt like claustrophobic. I mean, everybody was all over me, and they were concerned for her. I get it, and I apologized to everybody after. I said, "But you have to leave the scene because the paramedics are coming in. They got to deal with your kid, and that's what you have to worry about, not hovering over." Because had trouble breathing. Her neck. I mean, it was a head-on-head collision. And what happened? So that's why we call it. And she was in and out of consciousness, and she's actually here today, which is like wow. But anyways, so yeah, that's get everybody away. Anybody else?
I guys want to jump in really quick. Let's say, for example, if something happens that if you're not calling, say, for help, then either you trying to make sure all the kids are somewhere else. You know, don't get caught up in the moment like, oh, what do I do? So if he's talking to the phone and maybe someone like, are you okay? Then the moms are there. And well, guys, let's go to the gym. Let's go somewhere else. Like that. I mean, they're always taking care of it. That's when you want kids getting, more crazy or taking pictures or recording or just crying as well.
Or fainting when they see blood and then you got two
But
problems.
if a kid had like a dislocated arm, it was really dislocated, and you can see. What's the first thing you would try to? Well, besides comfort, then what's another thing you'd want to do? A dislocated arm. I mean, it's dislocated where you look like wow.
Don't touch.
911. What else? Don't touch him.
Don't have him look at it. Yeah.
Don't have him look at it. If he looks at it and goes, oh my God! That's what they would do. So the first thing you want is you're sitting on this side, the dislocated arm's over here, and you're talking about, hey, so what's up? What's your favorite food? You start talking about things that he gets his mind off it. You don't want him looking this way. You want him looking this way. Because once they see it, they can panic.
Yeah.
So yes.
I had a question about with the whole knife incident. So what if that student is approaching you with it, and you because obviously when everybody is kind of okay, nah, going self-defense mode. So would it be okay if you do know how to basically take the knife away from him? Can you do that, or would you just what would you do?
Basically, we're going to have a person come in and talk to us about that, an active shooter, suicide, a knife or gun, whatever. But it's a threatening situation. But yeah, I'd rather have, unfortunately, it's more of an adult situation than it is a kid situation, and we want kids out of the situation. And it's for you, it's your choice. I mean, your choice what to do, but it's safety of yourself too. We don't want you to put you in harm at all. So basically, you're calling authorities, you're talking to them. I'd rather have you talk to them if you're one-on-one and the kids are not anywhere near you. I mean, you got to.
Let's say
if he's coming towards you.
He's coming towards you.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to protect yourself.
And then he's still approaching you so.
Absolutely, you got to protect yourself. You have no choice. But at the same time, it's more like a lockdown. So if there's somebody who has a knife outside, it's hopefully we all have keys. We don't all have keys to our sites. Here at Palms, they all have a key. So if there's an active shooter and a crosser at the camp, everybody has a key so they can go into the room, lock the door, and then get into lockdown mode. And that's what you want to do. But at other schools, you're not allowed to have all the keys. So it's kind of it's tough situation. But yeah, you want all the kids safe first. It's really what you want. Put them all safe first. And it's
I hope we never experience any of these, but I still want to at least have the conversations because it comes up once a month at headquarters. Somebody's going to have experience.
We're hoping to have active shooter and suicide prevention. Those are the two classes that we'll be going through because those are active. They're prevalent now.
Not only that, but once a month, Beyond the Go has a policy and procedure where they have to do a drill once a month. It might be earthquake, a fire drill, and there's a whistle protocol, which is 4 short whistles with a pause, 4 short whistles. So the kids should know, okay, once you hear that, either we line up, you go towards the gym, or we go towards the field. It technically should be done where I have to go to your site, to the same 4 whistles with a pause and 4 whistles. The kids should line up. Doesn't matter who blows that whistle, they should be lined up. Just in case anything like that happens, you do your whistles. The kids might know it might be a fire or earthquake drill, all line up.
The last two I've got both fall in the category kind of bullying, but we've already discussed them too. So you don't see any kids fighting. Well, one kid looks beat up. What do you do?
Who hasn't been called on yet? Raise your hand.
I've experienced it before, so you try to. It's kind of hard to say investigate, but you try to kind of ask around because all the kids they see stuff, so you kind of ask, what were they doing? What was he doing today? What was the issue? What's been going on in school? And then eventually somebody's gonna let it slip, and they'll tell you, well, they had beef. This is what happened, before they got out of school before they came to prime time. You know, they met in the bathroom, and then that's what happened. So, you know, you kind of do a little investigation or just ask around, see what kind of information you can get, because you weren't there ultimately.
Obi?
I kind of went through this during camp, and it was just, we had a lot of kids running around. You don't see everything, you know, you're watching kids, but things are going on, games are going on. I didn't see something that happened in the corner, and the kid came over crying, and it wasn't like bullying, but he got hit. You know, I didn't see what happened, and little kids, you don't know whether to believe it or not, and you just gotta pretty much do that. Ask, investigate, see, and then things will start coming together. The younger the kids, or like this age group, they'll tell the truth, and the kid was like, yeah, I did this, I did that. And then I started asking more, and another kid was like, yeah, he hit me earlier. So it was like an ongoing problem to come about that this kid was actually like bullying a lot of kids that day. He had like 3 times 3 different people said kick me, hit me, he punched me. And what you need to do is no matter what, whether you didn't see it or not, whether you believe it or not, just report it, because that's where I dropped the ball.
That's what I want to know.
I reported it to our counselors, but it never got to the parent. So the parent of the kids who got hit, the first time they heard that they got hit was from their son. And as a parent, that's the last thing you want to hear. You want your kid to feel safe. So I dropped the ball. I had to talk to the parent, like, that's on me. Like, that's not even Peter's fault. That's not a counselor's fault. Like, your kid told me it happened. I assessed the situation. I thought I did everything right. Told him to apologize. Sat him out. But you have to tell everyone, from all the counselors
That's
to
another
the parents.
incident, guys.
Parents
It's an
of that
incident
kid.
report. It's a lot of
Yeah.
communication.
Take it
But you're right. I don't want the parent hearing about it from anybody, from the kid or from anybody else.
Yeah.
I want to control
And it goes
that.
back to controlling conversation with the parent.
Yep.
It goes back to that.
The only thing I would add on top of that too is in certain cases, I would like to isolate the kid, because if I see that they's beat up, okay, cool, I'm going to investigate. Well, while you're over there investigating, you could be getting beat up again.
Yeah, if you can.
Or something could happen. So I would take him aside, talk to that, he or she, and then go out and investigate. Because if you put all your energy into going over there without taking care of the issue here, this could get worse before things get better. So.
Not if I beat you for blues or whatever. If it's visible, it's okay. But don't that. Lift up your shirt really quick, see if you got a bruise on your ribs. And if it's visible, it's fine. If he says, oh, you know it hurts right here as well too, okay, that's fine. You don't let him or her lift up the shirt, something like that. If it's visible, but if not, there you go.
That's another thing I want to add, because it just goes back to the protocol. Like, even if it's not at school, if it's something that may have happened outside of school or at home, when you are investigating or asking questions, you don't want to ask any leading questions that may, have them say, oh, well, did your dad do? You just kind of, you ask the questions,
Right,
being kind of vague
You
about
get them
what's
started on talking, and just kind of let them go off.
Carry
Fill
the
in those
conversation.
blank spaces, I feel.
And somebody said it earlier. That's where I got the idea. You find out that a kid is posting questionable material on social media.
You haven't answered yet, right?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't answered.
Go ahead.
I guess you would report it to like your site director, like the parents know, like office, the principal know, and I guess police, depending on how questionable.
It depends what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends what
It
it
could
is.
be maybe they're putting some questionable stuff, like maybe I'm photoshopping a picture of Mike, and maybe Mike has a knife through his eyes. You don't know if he's trying to like send verbal threat or image threat, or maybe he's trying to harm him for whatever reason. I'll call DCFS first, and then they could just guide you through that. But letting the parents know, I think is a good one, because they might be aware of it as well too. They might not be aware of it as well.
I think that's also a good time to sit everyone down as a whole and kind of re-go over what the policies are regarding that kind of stuff. And maybe you just do a one-strike rule where, hey, such and such was bullying someone on the phone, so that's it. We're done with phones for the rest of the year, and that isolates that problem, because they will be in group chats, they will be in social media. You see 4 girls here talking about the one poor girl over there or a boy over there, so it does happen, but just cutting it out.
I was just gonna say, the social media thing is kind of just touchy-feely, because you're not supposed to be connected with these children on social media, so technically you shouldn't be aware of what they're posting, because you're not related on social media. The only way you should be able to see what they're posting is if you see them on the phone in the classroom, which is and that's I guess depending on your site, whatever your cell phone rule is. So the main way I think you as Team Primetime can control that is, there's no phones, because if you're not on your phone and you can't post something that's hurtful or discriminating towards someone else, then that's not on me, not on my watch. If you want to, it's unfortunate that it happens, but if it happens outside of our watch, then that's a parent problem or another guardian's problem that they have to take care of. But for us to make sure we do our part, just make sure your kids aren't on the phone.
We're doing our part,
Yeah.
and good point. That's a really good point. But I didn't limit my conversation to within our program. You can post something about Chantasia
That's true. No, you're right.
at night, and and somebody and Joe finds out about it.
Right.
What do you do?
Right. That's good.
You know? What do you do about it?
So,
And it's happened. I'm not asking.
No,
this
I'm
question
sure.
out of the
No,
blue.
right.
That happened last year too. So.
So what if a student comes to you and complains, oh, so-and-so is posting about me on
Good
social
question.
media?
Yeah, and that's for example, like they got the during school or at home or over the weekend. Obviously, you want to see the kid's statement. Obviously, you want to inform the parents what's going on, and then go from there. First thing I want to do, I'll call, like, say if Mike came to me, I'll call Mike, let you know what, Mike's come to me about this really quick. I'm gonna speak to the boy's mother right now, and hopefully the other kid's still on campus, and you go from there.
Yeah.
So I think.
But you'd also want to talk to the parent without letting the kid know.
Beforehand.
So the parent can go home and look at the child's phone and see if they're actually doing it. Don't tell the child, did you post something? Because they're going to erase it immediately. So let it go and call the parent immediately and say, here's the allegation, and this is what we think. Can you please check your daughter's phone? Hopefully they have their password, or they, when they're on it, they can get so that way the parent can deal with the child right away. And then you make sure that you tell the other parent, this is what we're doing. Your child was said that somebody videotaped her doing this, that, or the other. You'll tell the parent that we're investigating. Here's what we're doing about it. So then that parent goes, oh gosh, you're under control. You got this. I appreciate it. Okay.
Wouldn't we also contact the administration about it? Just like if it was a situation of bullying, so then the administration
If it's bullying,
also
yes.
knows.
Yeah, you want this.
If it's bullying, yes. But if it was just that they videotaped somebody and they didn't like it, then we deal with the parent first. And then, but yes.
A lot of times when you do go to the administration of school about it, they're also having that same type of issue with that kid during school, so they know more about it than we do. So if someone's bullying someone or bringing stuff they shouldn't or filming people, they're probably doing it throughout the day, and they've already dealt with it and they've talked to parents. So that way, if you have a good communication with your principal and administrators, it helps out a lot for stuff like
Not only that, but once year gets rolling, the principal, the dean, they should have a list of students that are in your program. Say for example, if there's a fish going on during school time, they'll probably, hey Manny, how's little Johnny at the school? Oh, he's X and Y. Like that, have a report with that school.
It's a little off topic, but just while I'm thinking about it, the incident reports, sometimes kids, something will happen during school or on the way to prime time where they fall, scrape their knee, bump a head, and they may even go to the office, but they don't document it. So when they come and you say, oh man, you have a bump on your head, oh, it happened during school, what I thought was easiest was just to make a quick note. You don't have to put a lot of information, just put the date, student arrived with this, sign it, and that's it. Because if 2 weeks from now there's some sort of concussion or ongoing issues, all it takes is for my instance, a kindergarten, first, second grade to say, no, it was in prime time.
Yeah, that's why the time is important.
Yeah, I don't have any documentation of that, so a little note and everything will be better. Because a lot of times they're in school all day, they fall, they bump their heads, they do this, then they come to you and now it's your issue.
So we took longer than I'm sorry.
I have one last question. Just because I've experienced it with kids before, what if a kid is rumored to like be having sex, or it's not on your campus, but it's rumored, or a kid comes and confides to you that that's happening? Do you include administration on that? Do you go straight to parents with that? Like, what is the chain of command?
It's parents and administration.
Both of them?
Well,
And I'm gonna say
It's DSS too, but it's a combination of everything.
Okay.
But the parent, I mean, it happened here at this school. Is where it was more like, because more kids nowadays, to be honest with you, is the bathroom and oral sex.
Yeah.
That's what middle school kids are doing, and it's more like that's what they do. To be honest with you, it's happened in all the schools, mostly in the Midwest, but it's happening here too. But it's definitely it's everything. It's you got to notify the principal, the parent. If you don't, then it's kind of on us.
Like in risk management, they'll tell you the process. There's a number you call.
Yeah, there is a number you call.
Because you're a mandated reporter. That's what they call it. But they say do not investigate, just because they handle it. Once you hand it off to them, they have social service. Like they take the next steps to that. So as Manny said earlier, he calls them and they can say no need, or they say these are the following steps. So if anything, call them and see what they want you to do. Because if they're like, oh, well, don't talk to this person because that's what we do. You know, you don't want to be caught in the middle.
You don't need to talk to other kids about it.
No.
If you do have to call them.
You don't need
because they're going to say, oh yeah, or no. It's never
Right,
happened.
we're not a sex ed education. We're not teaching kids.
I
Like,
was gonna say that if you ever feel uncomfortable
that's not
about calling DCFS, you don't ever have to say who you are.
yeah,
just
you
call and
are.
say this is the issue. What I like to do is the people you speak to will have some sort of a badge number or an ID number. And you just say, thank you for your time. By the way, can I have your badge number, whatever it is? That way you can reference that later on, because you'll hear a name and you'll forget a name, or you'll forget to ask who it was, and it just gets kind of lost. So call, say, I don't want to tell you who I am. This is the incident, and then can I please have your badge number? And they'll have to give it over.
They're going to ask you who you are, though, where you're from. You have to, tell the school or whatever your location. They're going to ask you that. I've called many times. Called last year.
But you don't have to tell them who you are.
No, but you have to tell them where the incident happened, because they will have to investigate. And so they kept calling me. It was an incident that happened. It wasn't regarding that issue. It was another issue. But it was last summer, and so they kept calling, and finally it got solved. But absolutely, I mean that's what we got to do.
I'm pretty much done, but I want to just recap, because this last section, it's tough, and these again are situations I hope we never find ourselves in, and yet we always find ourselves in them. And I think in these cases, discreet communication is the key. Staff needs to let the site director know, the site director needs to run it up the food chain and make sure administration for both Team Primetime and the principal. What you don't want to do is have Peter and or principal blindsided by them getting a call from police saying, hey, heard you had a kid with a knife on your schoolyard, or something like that. You want to communicate discreetly. That doesn't mean blanket communication to everybody. It means the people that I just mentioned. Site directors need to know. The site director needs to call some kind of administration for both the school and a Team Primetime. Okay, and then you just got to. The rest is a judgment call.
Yeah.
But don't keep it quiet and say, "Oh yeah, it wasn't a big deal."
Right.
We had, by the way, just so that you know, one of those, and I don't know all the details, but it was recently where some very young kids approached a staff person and said something sexual, and the staff person said, hey, it's no big deal, I didn't say anything sexual. They were the ones that said something sexual. And then the kids went home and said the site director, not the site director, the staff person said something sexual. So it got way blown out of proportion. But there was no communication at the bottom level. And so kind of everybody got blindsided, and it heated up fast because nobody had said anything to begin with.
One more case, missing child. We had that at Emerson a couple of years ago. Were you there for that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, again, girl they went to homework and she went straight out the door, and didn't come back. And her friends, they eventually came up to a staff member and told them that this kid was missing. And we had helicopters. We called school police. It was a whole big deal. We eventually found her, but it was be observant. Know where your kids, know how many kids you have with you that are supposed to be following you, and make sure those are the kids that end up with you in that room or field. Always count. Always make sure you have the right amount of kids. Keep track of who you have. And if kids are not in the program, make sure that they are in a different area, because they can start up things and you're not responsible for them if they're not signed in. And another thing is the parents on that situation. Be calm. If you're freaking out, I don't know where your child is. That's something a parent doesn't want to hear. So have a calm demeanor. Don't tell them things that you don't know for sure. Again, we had like police coming in, we had principals, like everyone needs to know that needs to know. And we were trying to keep the kids away and
It happened here at Palms too.
yeah.
But that
So-
was 7 years ago, and it happened, and the child never signed into primetime. So they just left, and the girl said she's running away because she got bad grades and couldn't face her parents. So she basically left, and that we found out about it. And so the police knew, everybody knew. I'm the one that found her, and I was actually down in Overland, down by Jefferson, and she was walking, walking across the bridge. And they said that that's where one of the girls, one of her friends, said she might go to, down that area. So I'm driving down the street. I didn't even know who she was. I was doing another program, and I yelled her name, and she turned around, and I'm like, I'm Ken from Primetime. She got in my car, and I actually took her back to her parents where I knew where they were, and the police were there. And I wasn't dealing with Palms at all, and I didn't even know who she was, but she was scared. She was frightened because her parents were going to reprimand her that bad because of bad grades. So anyways, it's a matter of like, you just got to follow the chain of command. If you don't know something, as we've said many times, just ask. Don't do anything wrong. Don't do anything you think is right and you're not sure about. So
Don't let kids in your car though.
don't. But in this situation, it's a little different because
Don't give
she's
kids
walking
rides
by herself.
home.
This was 11 o'clock
Yeah,
at night
yeah,
or 10:30 at night.
Oh,
And we're all. I mean, I had staff and myself. We're all driving because we obviously care about kids. So we're driving around the city trying to find this one girl, and we found her. It was crazy. Yeah.
Kids don't play.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm done except for one bone to pick. I
Yes.
only got one. This is my personal bone to pick. It has nothing to do with anybody else here. You've got site phones. Use them and answer them. There's nothing, I cannot stand sitting in the office and something's going down and we're looking for a site director and they're not answering. And I've been through that where I've called the site phone, the school phone, the personal phone, and I can't get a hold of somebody at the school site. So just letting you know. That's it. That's all I got, Ken.